A sort of new area we're seeing of sort of the role of digital technology in aesthetic treatment. Would you be able to fill us in a bit about Nextmotion and how it works and what sort of implications of this technology are?
Exactly. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I am a young doctor. It's been only 1 year and a half that I began my practice, and at the beginning of my from the beginning of my studies, I was never really satisfied enough of the before and after pictures I could see in every congress I went, and I was obsessed by the standardization of the before and after pictures I could show to my future patients, and I wanted to find some solution to the two major issues that we can meet in our everyday practice. The first one is, of course, the standardization of the before and the after pictures that we can get. It is almost impossible to get perfectly comparable pictures between two different times when patient come from the first time and for the control consultation, because there is many parameters that we need to set up. The first one is a white balancing. It's really difficult to have exactly the same color on the two pictures that we want to compare in each other. The second one is the patient positioning. There is always a difference in the angle of the face or the position of the head. The third one is the lighting. It's to me it is a major parameter that we need to control, because as injectors we need to restore the balance between light and shadows. And if the light moves, everything in the face, we don't have the good. Sorry for English. It's the first time I'm speaking. I think you can feel it. So it's really important to restore a good balance between light and shadows. And if the light is not the same, two pictures cannot be perfectly comparable.
It's certainly something. I mean, as journalists, whenever we're sort of presented with before and after images, it's something a lot of us always can respond to. So say, well, we can't really judge this. You know, it looks completely different. The expression's different as well. The lighting's different.
But I think it is normal, because doctors are not photographers, and it is not our job. The second solution I wanted to provide is the trust, because I think today, how far can you trust a picture? We are in 2016. It's really easy to Photoshop a picture now. And I think patient doesn't trust the picture anymore. So
you mean when they're looking at sort of before and after images that they've seen of someone's previous work?
It's really easy to cheat with all the parameters that are in our favor, and with touch-ups that we can do directly with our computers. So I try to take these two problems, mix it, and find a solution. And this solution is called Nextmotion. In one hand, you have a machine that is actually a traveling machine. You put the patient in the center of the machine, and it's like a robot. It turns around the patient. We use the ambient light of our room, so light is always the same. And on the machine, we put a device that records the face of the patient, that turns around the patient and make a video. And we can ask the patient to make some expressions. And on the other hand, you have the device that pilots the machines, that records the video and makes the before and after photo. And the device I choose is in our pocket, actually. It is our iPhone. This is really fun. This tool is really powerful, and it can allow us to make this kind of results. I think it's better for you to see how it looks.
So the image is actually taken on the iPhone?
Exactly. Okay. Imaging is taken on the iPhone directly, and it turns around the patient. With the video, the good thing is that you can see the emotion of the patients. When some patients want to get some new procedures, and you see that they are hesitating, it's really powerful to show them how you work on your other patient and what you do on your other patient. And I think it is more trendy to use video, because we are in a dynamic era, and it is really important to show how the patient moves with the work that you are doing on him. In our everyday life with kids, we smile, we do a lot of expressions, and it's better and more realistic to show videos of the patients
than
moving.
Just still photograph.
Exactly. And this process helped me a lot in my practice, really. Because as you can see on the video, you can point at the injection point that you do on the face of the patient, and you can superpose before and after pictures extracted from the video directly and show to your patient the work that you did. So it's better for patients to realize the procedure that you had in your office. It makes the patient really much more happy, and patient is much more involved in the procedures that in the treatment plan you are proposing to
so if it's a long-term thing, they can see the progress.
It's a long-term relationship, and at the end of the process, I can share the video with the patient.
So I believe there's an app they can then download, or that will be the plan on their phone, so they can see the
Actually, there is an app that is running on the iPhone that can allow you to set up all the parameters that we talk. iPhone is really powerful, as I said. You can have exactly the same white balancing. You can have exactly the same patient positioning with the ghost mode. I will talk about that next Saturday in a conference. And you can match really easily before and after pictures, superpose it, and see exactly where is the results. Most of our patients, some patients are not happy with some kind of procedures, and it helped me a lot with this kind of patients.
To be able to actually demonstrate it to them without question.
I can confront them with their own videos, and it saved me a lot of trials, I think, because many patients are not really fair with us.
Well, I think it's hard, isn't it, for people to sort of remember where they started from and to actually be accurate about what has sort of taken place.
Exactly, especially for some rhinoplasties. Some patient has BDD with this kind of procedures because nose is in the middle of the face. And if they have a reference as a video, it's easier for them to accept how they get after the procedure.
Right, okay.
So
I endorse it. I love it. This is going to be having great future.
I think this is extremely important because the before and after photos, if a patient tells me I don't want to have before, I actually don't do the patients at all. The patient tends to have a short-term memory, so he looked like the after picture about 10 years ago or 5 years ago. So he will forget the 3, 4, 5 days after the treatment and say, I always look like that. So the moment, I love that moment because this is, as soon as he comes to my clinic saying, I'm rather happy at all, look at my face exactly the same, I get the before after and I just let him see it and I just enjoy this look in his face, looking, okay, all right, thank you so much, it was amazing. So it's absolutely beautiful. And also what I want to say that we need to standardize photography. Because you can see there's a lot of products and clinics. You can take a photo of a crow's feet, for example, with the patient doing like that. So you have a lot of crow's feet, and then the after photo, the patient doing like that. So there's no crow's feet. And the patient is not really educated enough to catch the difference in a lot of cases. Also with skin cares and stuff like that, if you change the lighting just a little bit, you will get it makes a huge difference. So I want a body to standardize for all the companies and for all the clinics this, and it could be like a logo, like something that say this is standardized by X, so we know that these photos are real. And I've seen the machine in Monaco, I think, and it's beautiful. I think it's a good thing.
Thank you very much. But I think the best thing that we can do with this kind of standardization is some clinical studies, some realistic clinical studies to improve our visibility in the medical world and to prove that our procedure works.
Well, I think because there's a lot of cynicism, isn't there, surrounding aesthetic treatments, but also sort of cosmetic products in general. So I think actually, something like this type of technology has the potential to actually sort of create much more trust, doesn't it? And because I think certainly as having sort of sat in a lot of presentations at, you know, being sort of told the amazing results of the latest screen and seeing images that look wildly different, you know, that of course creates a reaction of, well.
See, we don't know how it's going to cost, how much it costs. We have no idea. However,
it's free for all the panel, Dr. White. It's free for all the panel.
However, in every clinical practice and every teaching practice, we always have standards. We have a photography room where the light is also standard, the camera, the background, the setting of the patient. There's qualified people who take pictures, and so you may, when somebody talked about Photoshops and changing things, you will see that only in people who really are doing more commercial business. You don't see it in teaching institutions and ethical clinics. But this is a great contribution.
Thank you.
Because I think also that's the thing to me. So it's not necessarily that some clinic, of course, you know, you would hope that ethical clinics are not in any way attempting to dissemble or create sort of discrepancies. But I guess this makes it much easier for it to be.
It's really easy
to make it sort of.
Exactly.
You know,
it takes less than 1 minute to export the final video.
Yeah.
It's really easy to do, and it makes us transparent. Really. It brings transparency with our patients, trust and transparency, because we don't have anything to hide when we do a before and after videos, perfectly standardized. And it's a
I would absolutely endorse what Dr. Elard and Dr. McKeel have said, is that photography is critical. When I opened my clinic in my current location 10 years ago, I spent £70,000 on photography equipment. 3D equipment, complexion analysis, and so on and so forth. And you come to conferences, even like this one, where there's someone on stage showing before and afters of one picture, the lighting's behind them, and there's a laser in the background, and then on the right they've got their makeup on, and the lighting's pointing downwards. And you're sitting there, you're thinking, you're an international expert, and you're showing us photographs like this where they're not comparative at all. I deal with a lot of complications, and the more complications I deal with from other practitioners referring them into me, the more I realise how critical it is to get good before and after photographs. I won't treat unless the patient has had before photographs. And yet typically I'll get someone coming up to me at a conference, I go, can I just show you a couple of photographs? That was the before and that was the after. And I say, well, can you show me the comparison then? And I go, is this really going to stand up in a court of law? Because let's face it, we are doing, some of the procedures we're doing are relatively high risk, and it's important that we not only protect the patients, but protect ourselves. And unfortunately, it costs a lot of money to hire a professional to do the job properly. It costs even more to hire an amateur, because then you have to pay the professional to put it right. So what I say is, if you're going to have a cosmetic treatment, whatever it might be, if it involves anything invasive, go to a proper medically led clinic. Don't have it done behind a curtain in a beauty salon. And if you're not having photographs taken, run.
There we go, great advice. So the next thing I want to move on to is a sort of interesting topic, because in Britain we've sort of got a bit of a reputation for being very prudish, and yet I hear that there's been a recent sort of surge